for the podcast. If you want to say hello, we're live. If you want to say welcome back or something, just create a starting spot that I can clip for the podcast. All right.
Okay. Cool. Welcome back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Welcome back to the Total 90 show. Sponsored by Total 90. Sponsored by Ocho. Sponsored by Booty. We're bringing on some beautiful people today. It's a guy who near and dear to our heart. He's got the big guns. It's a guy named Gunner Mike. Say what's up, Gunner Mike.
Fellas, how y'all doing? Happy to be back with y'all. Long time no here.
Yeah, man. Glad you're back. And the only reason that we invited you back is because your team is in the Champions League. First year back in how many years, Gunner Mike?
It's been a long 7 years.
Long
for the
7
boys.
years.
Yeah,
And of course,
7
we're
years
joking. It's not the only reason. We love your takes. But I had to just put that little jab in there while I could.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. Yeah, no, shout out to the boys, man. You know, back in the big time, playing pretty well in Europe and domestically. Just trying to close the year out well, man. You know, another year, Mikel Arteta building on the project, and we keep it pushing, man. You know.
Heard that.
Yes, sir.
So let's get right into it. Let's just go over these scores from this past week. This is leg one of the quarterfinal Champions League. We've got Real Madrid hosting Manchester City in a thrilling 3-3 draw. We're just going to go through these scores and then we'll review back later. On that same day, shame on the Champions League for not switching these game times. We also had Arsenal hosting Bayern Munich in a thrilling 2-2 draw. That was all on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we had another thriller, PSG hosting Barcelona and unfortunately losing 3-2. And then finally, we had Atletico Madrid hosting Borussia Dortmund, escaping with a 2-1 win. Let's jump in right away. Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Gunner Mike. Let's hear some of your thoughts on the game.
I think the team played a tad bit timid just out the gate. You could tell that they didn't want to mess it up. You know what I mean? Just kind of to start the game, so on and so forth. That they had to kind of ease into it. Definitely think the guys played well. I think the midfield held us back in this game to a degree. I think Arteta may have to make a big call going into the second leg as far as because let's be real, you know, Goretzka and what's his name, Lemire, for Bayern have not been world beaters this season at all in midfield, but they were running past our guys, mainly Jorginho, and having if you go back and watch the game, like Declan Rice was having to do a whole lot of work, and it got to a point where our center backs were having to come up and almost play balls between the lines that Jorginho couldn't do because those guys were suffocating them, running past them, so on and so forth. And yeah, so I think he might make a big call as far as maybe playing Partey in the second leg with Declan. He's been out a while. He's just starting to play games again. But you know, when he came on and made his cameo in the first leg, he's the one who made that first ball between the lines to get that second goal going for Trossard. He's the one that started that whole play as far as Partey. So other than that, you know, I think everybody did their job. You know, we're in the tie still, so just got to keep it going, man, and go there and just win the game. We know what we got to do. We don't have to try to come back from anything. You know, just gotta it's 0-0. Go win the game and try to advance. You know, and that's it. But I think the boys play well. I don't know what Raya was doing on that first fucking goal.
Yeah.
Like he was out. Like I don't know what was going on. I didn't like playing Kirior in the game. He hadn't played in about 2 weeks. and all of a sudden he's thrust into this action. He had been playing well, but beforehand, but he hasn't played in 2 weeks because we've been getting Zinchenko and Tomiyasu back in, and yeah. So I know it's a little bit of a rambling there, but overall, I think the boys did good for the opponent. You can throw their Bundesliga record out the window. In Europe, Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich. Loads of quality, and you knew they had to be confident going in against us too, because they know the history as well. They know that yeah, we haven't been here in a while. Harry Kane always scores against us, which he did again. So. But yeah, man.
As far as the questionable stuff that happened during that game, we had the goalkeeper pass to Gabriel, handball, pass back to
Right.
Raya. We had the questionable foul in the box on Saka by Neuer. Booty, did you happen to catch those? And what were your thoughts on those?
Don't remember that particular moment, but I can say I would jump on with piggyback what Mike was saying. I mean, first of all, you got Bayern, who's looked pretty terrible all year in Bundesliga, but it's not Bundesliga. They usually send the show up for this tournament, as we all know. Weird thing about this is, on the flip side of it, I mean, to me, I haven't seen a whole lot of Arsenal this year, but but maybe it's a good thing, because when I have, if I watch Arsenal in Premier League, I feel like I'm getting a different squad in Premier League Arsenal than I am Champions League Arsenal throughout this whole tournament. And I say that because Arsenal owes me some money on the Champions League side. I'll see, I'll just see what they do. I'll say, okay, cool. They're looking good domestically. All right, cool. They got this in the bag. Awesome. And then they go out and, they have that stinker against Porto. And then they come back. They look pretty decent domestically again, top of the table match recently, right? They look pretty decent. They held their own. And then they come out, and this is one I feel like they should have won. They're at home. Bayern's looking not so hot. But, hey, Bayern got it done, did what they needed to do, and now they're going back to Germany. So that's what's the scariest part about this to me is now that they're going back to Bayern, that's going to be a tough one. You're going to really see those youngsters for Arsenal. This is going to be a true test, a real gut check, a real ball check, if you will, to see what they got, see if the lights aren't too bright for them. And I feel like that's going to be the biggest aspect of what we should need to pay attention to that game.
Definitely agree with that. And one of our favorite podcasters would say, as soon as the Champions League lights are on, all domestic stats, all domestic records go out the window. It's amazing how the players' mentalities change. And you could have a shitty season, turn on those Champions League lights, and those teams completely flip a switch. And I feel like we saw that with Bayern. This is kind of like them being able to almost hit the reset button. They're outside the Bundesliga. They're against an opponent that, has historical matches that they've, there's a lot of history there, for lack of a better word. Mike, I spoke about those two questionable calls. I wanted to get Booty maybe as an impartial, but I'm going to pass it to you.
Yeah.
You're obviously biased towards Arsenal, but what were your thoughts on those two calls?
So as far as the one with us with Gabrielle and Raya, I mean, it's for me it's like a common sense thing. I mean, I get it. If I was a Bayern fan, I get it. Like from a technical standpoint, but it's like there was absolutely no advantage gained from what took place. So, you just kind of gotta keep it pushing and keep playing. You know what I mean? It's a big game. I mean, not that if I was a Bayern player, yeah, sure, I would take that PK. You know what I mean, and so on and so forth. But yeah, just overall, common sense should prevail in the situation, which it did, and there was no advantage there. As far as the Saka situation, I think it just all depends on who you talk to and what angle you're looking at, and so on and so forth. I've looked at breakdowns from each angle. I've had people saying, hey, it's just a straight dive, so on and so forth. And then other folks are saying, hey, you can kind of see that he's getting over on his left, trying to strike the ball, but he gets taken out type deal. So it's just, you know, who you're listening to and what you think, what angle you're looking at, so on and so forth. But, it's water under the bridge at this point, but obviously, it would have been a huge turning point in the tie if they would have given the penalty. But that would have been either one. So you give either one, it changes the whole dynamic of the situation. So, I guess it balances itself out.
For me, I would say I have, as a fan that doesn't really care who wins either of these two legs, I'm kind of glad that they didn't call either of them. The first one, the handball, obviously for the spirit of the game, you just don't call it. Somebody made a great post on Twitter that this is something that Arsenal do very consistently.
It is.
The goalkeeper will have the ball in the center of the box and pass it over to that guy, and he'll pick it up and place it. So this is something that it's not new. This is what they do. The ref might have just blown the whistle a little too early for Arsenal. And then I would make the argument, how many times do you see players lift their leg up on a throw-in? Right? They don't call those. Why aren't you crying about those, right? Does it create an advantage? Maybe. You could argue maybe the ball goes a little farther, but that's not worth calling. That's a little tic-tac foul. That's not worth calling. That little exchange between Raya and Gabriel, same thing. It's a little tic-tac foul. Doesn't really influence the game. The other one, the reason that I would not call it there, while there was contact, is that there is history of Saka liking to drive in and kind of leave that leg hanging for the goalkeepers to clip. So he was trying to draw the foul. People were making the argument that Saka could have potentially continued his run on, which I kind of agree with. That being said, again, I agree with you. Water under the bridge. Let's see what happens in the second leg. Hopefully, Arsenal come out a little bit more aggressive, because I agree they were a little bit more timid and conservative at home, and that's what you want to. You want to turn the switch, very much like we saw Manchester City and Real Madrid do.
Right.
I would love to break that one down. Booty or Gunner Mike, do y'all have any last thoughts about this as they head into leg number 2 next week?
This is what I'll say. My bad, Booty.
No, go ahead.
Obviously, we've all brought up like, hey, Champions League is different than domestic, so on and so forth. What I will say, and I'm saying this as humbly as I possibly can, that was the best we've seen Bayern play in weeks.
Wow.
And that was a pedestrian game from us. A pedestrian game from Arsenal, from what we've seen really since 2024 started. You can look at all the stats, all the statistics. You know what I mean? Pedestrian game from us. Their best game in weeks. So, I mean, let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do at their place. And also, and I just want to make this point too. And I brought this up in the chat and so on and so forth. As far as 90% of my roster, maybe even more, the only 2 people in my starting 11 who have been at this stage is Jorginho and Kai Havertz. Everyone else, no one has been at this stage, including my manager, who's in his first job, by the way. This is his first job. This is his first job. This is his first job. This is his first managerial job, by the way. This is his first job.
Are you going to say that all of those games that he helped Pep Guardiola, those don't count?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't count. I'm just saying it's just like anything else. It's a difference when you're the boss and the difference when you're an assistant manager, right? It's a difference, right?
I guess, but you're on the team. You traveled. You did the work. You helped him out.
Okay,
I
cool.
agree. There's a difference, obviously, between head coach and assistant coach. But
right. So what about all my players? My best players, best players on my team have never been here before.
Totally
They've never been here before.
Totally agree.
That's all I'm saying is like, I think last year we talked when Arsenal was in a run-in. They were doing well. We're overachieving. Every year, we have overachieved every year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like this is like we're overachieving right now. Now next year I expect to take a different kind of step. But like last 16 was all we really wanted. You know what I mean? But now we need to go for it. Don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
this is a good. We're doing good. The project is going where it's supposed to go. Ultimately,
Right.
is
Totally.
all I'm getting at. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? We're on a good trajectory.
That's
So
facts.
that's
facts.
all I'll say. That's
Yeah.
what I'm really getting at. So
I agree. I agree with all that. Booty. Last thoughts.
Man, humble pie is free. I always say. So hey, I'm with you, Mike. That was the one thing that was absolutely 100% true. There is Lions look like complete ass for about a month now. So to see them even look like they had some sort of aggressiveness to them was pretty shocking. So no, I don't think anybody saw that coming. And number two, another thing you said is 100% true. I already had mentioned it earlier. These guys, this is their first time seeing a big game like this, really, and out of the ordinary for what they usually know on Arsenal. You know, we're talking about, hey, the lights are bright and everything too, but we're also talking about this is a game on a Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday night. You know,
yeah,
so the whole feel of it's different. You're playing a team that you haven't seen before, which, you know, a lot of times when we say that, and I know Ocho might think this as a coach too, we always say that like in a negative way, like, oh man, we haven't seen this team before. Sometimes it's actually a good thing. You know, you might play somebody that you see in Premier League 3-4 times a year, maybe, right? You're seeing somebody completely fresh. So now that they've had an idea to see each other, that second game is going to be fucking awesome. But I will say this: the soccer penalty, you guys had asked about me. It kind of slipped my mind. Sorry, I've had a couple beers. But that was the one that was towards the end of the match, right?
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, it's tough to call it because of that situation, but at the same time, it's like, why is that a rule then? You know, and to
Rule,
me,
like, rule.
lately, a lot of things like, and this goes, you know, going to the NFL too, but I'm not even gonna get on that. But it's like, oh, it's fourth quarter, we won't call that. So it's like,
Right.
all right, well then, why don't we just not either call it all the time or don't call it at all? That's
First
all I
half,
ask.
that's a penalty. First half, that's a penalty.
Right.
We know it.
And you
We
know
know
why?
it.
You know why? Because there's contact, and he's late making the contact. So
Thank you.
isn't that something that should probably fall in the lines of that being a foul? But because it's later and it's going to change the outcome of the game, then we shouldn't call it. Like, well, then we shouldn't call it ever.
Totally on the other side of this argument here, that he intentionally drew his leg out. He has historically done that and gotten yellow cards for doing that.
That was the
you
past.
pulled up one clip from.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
What
matter.
are you talking about? He says historically. What is
Yeah.
what?
That we're talking about now.
Is there evidence in the past that he's done this? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
But can I ask you something else though?
Sure.
You know what a lawyer would always tell you? 110%. Shout out to Mark Bellamy. You cannot prove intent.
Yes, you can. In soccer, absolutely. Absolutely.
You knew exactly what he was trying to do.
A left-footed player cutting inside.
We've seen Saka cut inside before. And the way that he placed his right foot and left it hanging straight-legged, not bent, shows intent that he was looking for contact. That's a fact. He looked for contact. That's all I'm going to say. And that's why I wouldn't call it.
It's a fact that you think he was looking for contact.
I can
based on the past. But what about in that moment?
And in that moment, he straight-legged it. He totally straight-legged and left his leg out.
Yeah, see, this is where it's like,
okay. Do you condone that play? Both of you.
No.
Are you okay with that?
No, but if it's a rule,
okay, fine.
You got to call it.
Yeah.
Or don't call it ever.
But it's not a rule.
They would have called that in the first half.
I disagree.
It will be, and that'll be based off of exactly what you're saying. In the past, they have, right? We know that.
See, and we can't. You can't just say that we have seen that when there's multiple examples of them not calling it and giving yellow cards for simulation, diving, drawing contact when you could have continued to play. I mean, there's plenty of examples where that doesn't get called. And you're going to make the claim that because it was later in the game, it should have been called. I just disagree with that.
No, I'm saying that's not what I'm saying. If it's a rule,
yeah.
You have to call it.
But what is the rule?
The don't.
What is the rule that you're calling? Are you just saying one word contact?
Late movement, late decision, contact in the box.
Those aren't rules.
There is no touching of the ball at all during that. So I could just take him out then.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. I saw it, Mike. We're going to pull it up.
Side note, I just sent you another clip.
That's fine.
I sent you another clip. No, it's totally different foul. Totally different foul, by the way.
Okay.
I sent this to the chat. Totally different foul. Harry Kane. This got no card, by the way.
This should have absolutely been a red card. I'm glad you brought this up.
Like you saw him look back, right?
Yeah.
He looked back at Gabriel and then boom. Right there. Like, what is this shit?
This is at least a yellow. It's a soft red, but at least
he should be missing the return leg.
Was that first half?
That's first half.
So,
Booty,
we can't have Harry. We can't have Harry miss the whole game.
Booty,
right.
Booty, you're literally making a counterpoint against yourself. First half, second half. You're proving the intent of the ref.
Bro, what I'm asking for is
half, he's not going to call it. How do you know the intent of the call?
I'm asking for consistency, my man. I'm asking for consistency because there never is. It never seems to be consistent with this.
No, there's plenty of late penalties called. You had one called against Juventus for Real Madrid. Like, that was a late penalty that probably could have been argued either way. They made that call.
Okay, so then that's what I'm saying. Always call it then. Call it in the first half, call it in the second half.
You have to have the same ref in order for that to happen.
Call it.
So, all right. So this actually brings up a great segue, which is the Real Madrid Manchester City game, which I thought there was a ton of no calls. I don't know if y'all got to watch that one in detail. This ref started the game off with a very quick yellow. You can see it right here, first minute. And then after that, continued to let all of the physicality progress. And it was incredible. If y'all get a chance to go back and watch it, Jude Bellingham was actually getting manhandled. Erling Haaland was getting manhandled this entire game. So, like, when we look at both of these games together, why are these calls not being called consistently in the first half? And then we're looking for them to make a questionable PK call in the second half. It's the style of the game. It's the flow of the game. It's the type of referee you have. That's just inherent of soccer. I want to talk about this game. Did y'all get a chance to catch these highlights?
I didn't really get to see too much from the game just because it was on at the same time as our game. So okay. I was locked in on that.
This game right here for me was electric. Both teams came out very aggressive, very attack-minded. They were both going at each other. There was a lot of possession in the attacking third. There wasn't a lot of slow buildup. It was get that ball, move it down the field. Both backlines stood up to the challenge. Now, of course, you got 3-3, so obviously it doesn't look like they did much. But I would argue that this was just such an elite attack from both teams that it didn't matter who was defending. You were going to see goals. Now, granted, if you had a team like Atletico Madrid, they're probably parking the bus, and you're not seeing a 3-3. But this game was an absolute thriller. Haaland got double-teamed. I wouldn't say he disappeared. I would say they made him disappear by the way that they defended him. When you look at the success of Real Madrid, it was a lot of open play. Rodrigo was taking the ball into space and then making his penetrating dribbles forward. Same thing with Vinicius Jr. And for me, Phil Foden is really proving to be one of the best youngsters for the English national team, especially with that strike. I mean, he was left unopen. He was left open, unguarded on the top of the box, but that man is a killer here. Did anybody want to add some thoughts? I want to keep going.
I mean, I know I saw the Foden strike, which was really good. You know, he's a good player. So, yeah, and just a quick note, like as far as you talk about England Euros coming up this summer, like England really, I mean, you know, how much longer is it going to take for them to win some shit? Because this is literally, I mean, this is one of their golden ages, I think. I mean, they have a ton of talent. They should be winning some shit. If they don't win it this season, you know, win the Euros, you know, Southgate's got to go. He should have been gone, obviously, but
I was gonna say he should have been gone.
Yeah, he should have been gone, but you know, I definitely think he's gone if they don't win the Euros.
Didn't England just play Brazil?
Yeah, I think so. In London too. Brazil trained at Arsenal actually.
Oh,
They were there. Yep.
not surprised. They got a bunch of Brazilians there. I'm sure they wheeled and dealed something.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we look at this lineup, probably their best goalkeeper, best right back, best center back. Maybe could find someone, not someone off the top of my head, but he sure fucking shows out whenever he wears that English kit. Chilwell, probably best left back. Maybe you could put in. No, I don't know. Who else? Who else could you put there? I don't know.
For who? Well, to my left back.
Yeah, left back. You know who I would like to see on this English back line? Ben fucking White.
Man, he fell out. He fell out with the coaching staff, with Southgate's lead assistant at the World Cup. That's why he left the World Cup. But yeah, he should be playing.
Yeah, I agree. Declan Rice, Gallagher, solid quality. Bellingham, Foden. I feel like Foden should be over here. Saka should be over here, and then you have Harry Kane up top. That team's fucking disgusting.
It'll be like that move. Saka had to pull out of this for the last international break. He didn't play at all. And I'll tell you what, I think we see the young dude from United take Gallagher's spot. Maino.
Yeah,
he's gonna play, bro.
Yeah,
he's good. Yeah, he's good.
And you're asking the question, what is it going to take? I feel like it's going to take a manager that doesn't allow the team to crumble internally. I feel like that's their biggest weakness every year. Is the rivalries are so tough in the EPL that surprise, surprise.
I escaped death.
Welcome back to the show. Our local news celebrity, Pretty Boy Parker. Parker, I'm almost tempted to go back to the Arsenal Bundesliga game just to get your thoughts on things. We had a few 2v1s over here that I was getting cornered on.
Shit.
Let me just quickly go back to Real Madrid. Did you happen to watch that one, Parker?
Dog, I was in the trenches.
Okay, so all I'm going to say is this is going to be a fucking thriller in leg 2, and I would recommend somehow tuning in. Hopefully they figure out not to have these two games kick off. Let's go back to Arsenal, Bayern Munich. We talked a lot about Arsenal. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Bayern and how you thought they played.
I mean, they counted us out. They took what we were doing in league and they said, yeah, Arsenal's doing well, Bayern's doing shit. Let's just make Bayern plus 400 underdogs. That's disrespectful.
How do you think they played? Do you think that was one of the best games of their season?
I mean, I wouldn't say one of the best, but I mean, they showed up. They did what they had to do. They got 2 away. It's going to be another highly watched YouTube clip when Bayern wins 8-2 on Ag.
Damn. This is exactly the banter we needed. Parker, I want to ask you your opinion. All right, so we had 3 very questionable no calls.
Yeah.
The goal kick to Gabriel that he picked up. Do you believe that should have been called?
How often do you see that happen?
I'd say never, but I also think it obviously the noise in there probably didn't hear the whistle, and they historically do this.
Bayern had no fans there. Can't blame the Bayern fans.
Yeah, it was obviously
if anything, it would have been friendly fire.
Yeah, so you want that call?
I mean, you don't love to see it. It'd be a pretty shitty way to win a game, but I mean, rules are rules, man.
Okay, classic. All right, so I could probably answer this next question, but I'm still going to ask it anyway. The Saka and Neuer collision in the box. What is your take on that?
100% dive.
What a fucking guy.
Saka stuck that leg out. He knew before, 2 steps before he got there, he knew what he was going to try to do. I honestly think if he would have tried to play soccer, he dribbles past Neuer and puts that in, easy game winner.
Do you?
Instead,
Okay.
he had it in his mind. I'm going for this dive. There was contact, but I don't think it was, you know, it was more intentional on Saka than it was Neuer just holding his ground and Saka sticking his leg out.
Okay, follow-up question. If that happens in the first half, do you think that gets called?
I think it goes to VAR.
There it is.
I think they take a longer look at it. Do I still think it gets called? I wouldn't think so, but I think they take a closer look at it.
What about that hurricane elbow?
That was the last one.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
elbow?
Come on, man.
Don't worry, we got a video for you if you're looking for one.
The look back.
VAR was broken right there, man. It was down.
All
The
he
video
saw
was down.
He didn't even see him.
Come on, man. Come on, dog.
Pause it when he's looking back. What's he looking at?
He's looking over his left shoulder at Gabriel.
What's he
Like,
seeing?
oh, perfect. He's about to be on my other side.
Yep. This guy, we talking about rules. The guy should be missing the return leg.
Harry Kane's not that guy.
Come on, man.
Now, I will say Gabriel definitely sold that.
Yeah.
Right? He definitely flopped, but
Well,
definitely.
you imagine catching a knife to the jaw? Come on, dude.
Hey, he still gets an A for selling. You know,
Yeah,
it's a job.
I respect it. You get that contact, you sell it. You make it seem like you just died on the
Hey, the way that we've been playing, we got to set the tone. We got to do something. Take our jabs. We got to. I thought it was, our lineup was a little questionable. It's always kind of weird seeing Kimmich go back to right back.
You know why he's doing that?
Obviously didn't shine back. I mean, he did his part. The back line, nobody did anything extravagant. But, they gave up 2. We got 2. Goretzka. A lot of people, in the Bayern community, been hating on Goretzka for a while. Had a pretty decent game there, and then, I mean, Limer. I've been on that Pavlovich kick. I know he's young, but for going talent wise, it's got to be him. Limer's good. He gives us depth. I thought it was an interesting move there. Pavlovich has just been playing very well.
19 German. Wow.
Yeah, he's been great this season.
He's got a 7.0 rating, a 7.1 rating so far in the Bundesliga at CDM. That's pretty solid as a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I mean he's competing in a very competitive midfield in Bayern. We see a lot of people come, we see a lot of people leave, and I think with him being German, being young, he's going to solidify his spot there for a while.
Is he a tall guy? What's it? 186 centimeters.
Get that conversion.
6.1. Okay. He's got at least 6'1", 6'2". I don't know what 0.1 feet is, but
Cleats give him another inch.
He's not short, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, he's quality. I'm really excited about him.
Cool.
Like I said, it's hard. That midfield's tough, man. We have so many players between Kimmich, Goretzka, Limer, Pavlovich, Guerrero. All these players are. You pull in Guerrero and Limer, who are starters on other teams, and it's very rotational here. So, yeah, I was very happy to. I mean, that mid, the attacking mid there. It's refreshing to see Sane and Gnabry working together again. Still got Coman, Musiala. We're finally getting that attacking mid back healthy.
Who's your number 10? Who's the number 10 on? Is that Musiala or is that Kane?
I think Musiala.
Oh, Sane. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Sane, Kane, and then 42 is that Gnabry? No, 42 is Musiala. Interesting. So Musiala almost was playing.
This was actually the numbers. Okay, my bad. I thought we were.
Yeah, I totally
in
set
position.
you up. It looks like they held more of like a 2-5-3, and Gnabry kind of dropped off, allowing Musiala.
Yeah, Musiala plays that left a lot. I mean, whenever we have other attacking mids and we didn't have, the available options, Musiala was generally playing on that left.
What I thought was really interesting about Arsenal is, Mike, you brought this point up. Who's the left back for y'all again?
It was Kiwior.
Kiwior. Very inexperienced. Never even heard of the guy, honestly, before this match. It looked like Arteta's game plan was to not only double down on Saka, but to keep the ball away from his side of the field. If you go and look at the touches, and honestly, I was just looking at this. If you look at the touches inside this field, so you got all three of the midfielders, right? Look at that heat map. Everything's on the right side of the field. Of course, you add right as you add Saka, right? But even if we add Ben White, you add Saka, right? So let's add these left back. What's his name? Oh, that was the left back. Sorry. So these are your three center midfielders. This is your right back and your right forward. You have 308 touches here. That's not even including Havertz, who, again, just added a whole bunch of color here. If we remove the right back and just add the left back and the left forward, you can still see there is a giant heat map over here on this right side. And now you've only got 239 touches. So I'm wondering if Arteta understood that his left back was probably his weakest position and said, we're going to attack down the right as much as we can to keep that ball away from him. Because that matchup, Kimmich on that left back, that's an easy 1v1 for Kimmich. He's going to win that battle. So moving forward, I would be interested to see if Bayern, I don't know if Tuchel's going to recognize that, but that would be the exploitation I would take if I'm Bayern. I don't know where the
text them this. Let me take a
dude.
picture.
I don't know where the weakness is for Bayern, other than I think Lemire, and all you have to do is slide Kimmich back into that center mid, and now you have the dominant center mid. Mike, what was your take on Jorginho? I know you were saying that. Did he get pulled out? He got pulled out for Gabriel.
Yeah, he got pulled. I think that's why, like how I was talking earlier, even like how Parker's kind of touched on. I mean, Goretzka's kind of been getting catching a lot of slack here from their community over, this last little bit of the season, so on and so forth. But Jorginho had him looking great out there. Jorginho had no legs in the midfield, basically. He was not good for us, on Tuesday at all. He had no legs. Declan was having to do a ton of work to try to keep up with these guys. And I just don't think he was good for us. He had just played 90 minutes on the weekend. Jorginho's an older guy. I just think it was a mistake to play him. But like I said earlier, I think next week gonna be a big call. I think you might have to play Partey in that spot. Somebody with some legs who can move around, and just kind of give a little bit of a different dynamic.
So actually, now that you say that, I'm looking at it. You'll probably have a Zinchenko starting at left back, and you'll probably have a Partey over Jorginho, which will drastically strengthen that Arsenal team. The only problem is you're having to do that in Bayern.
So Zinchenko's a liability. I like Zinchenko. Yeah, defensively. I mean, he's not that guy. I would almost rather play Tomiyasu. If it was my decision, I'll play Tomiyasu, and then depending on how the game is going, bring Zinchenko in for the second half. Get some possession going, so on and so forth, if the game calls for it. But we'll see.
Damn, Tomiyasu. So it looks like he's been injured or hasn't gotten the
favor. He had been injured. But he was favored over there. Lord have mercy. I would love for Mikel to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and all of a sudden we see Yuri and Timber out there next week.
I was about to
That's who
say
would be
R.I.P.
playing.
my dog Timber.
That's man. He was so good. He's so good. That's going to be the left back when it's really time. But
Yeah.
you know, but yeah. So I'm not. I don't think he's going to be ready yet. He's back first team training, but
That's
you
Oh,
know,
is he?
yeah. He tore his ACL in the first game of the Premier League
Yeah,
season, but
that's when I went and watched the Community Shield. I watched that shit.
he's a baller, man. He's a baller.
Yeah, he was unbelievable in person. He was just like tearing up that he'd take that ball and dribble it all the way down.
One
Pace.
game, 50 minutes. Poor guy.
Yep.
Yep.
Damn. That's going to be exciting. I wonder if he rotates in.
I doubt it, man. I doubt it. I saw like the other day he's gonna play a U23 game. I think like next week or something, and then maybe get him in the last run in for the Premier League season. We'll see. But
Interesting. That could change things. I agree with you. I don't think he'll be rotated in against Bayern, but
nah.
man, if Arsenal can get past Bayern, then best believe he'll be rotated into that next knockout stage.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time between now and that next one. Looking at So Rare real quick, Parker, I don't know if you saw this. The best player on Bayern was Goretzka, narrowly over Kane. What are your takes on this? Do you agree with this?
I think he stepped up in that like CDM spot. Like I said, you pull Kimmich out, who's usually, the go-to guy, and so somebody's got to step up and fill those shoes if you're going to pull him out to right back. So I think he stepped up in a big way, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him back there for the second leg. I think we might see some, other changes potentially, but Limer, I think, you might take a look at that spot. There's still some differences we could do on that back line. We didn't see Upa, thank God. Dude ruins every UCL game. And then Kim's been kind of out of form. So it's weird. We go through cycles where it's like, we're heavy on Kim and Upa, and then like Delict doesn't see any minutes, and now we're starting Eric Dyer and Delict in Champions League. So it's crazy.
Would you say that Eric Dyer was Bayern's worst player?
Yeah. I mean, he he didn't do anything great. I mean, we could have. Yeah. I mean, looking everywhere else, I think everyone else did a fairly good job at center back. It's just you gotta, you know, command that back line, and I honestly didn't really understand the signing here, but other than getting Harry Kane a friend, maybe.
But Gunner Mike,
Yep.
looking at Arsenal, would you say that Saka was Arsenal's best player?
He did well. But I'd probably say our best player was probably Ben White on the day.
Okay.
Getting forward, making passes. He had a hell of a tackle on Sane when I thought he was for sure gonna score. Yeah, I just think he had an overall good game. He's probably been our really. I mean, I think he should have a shout for player of the season for us, just in general for the club. He's been pretty consistent. Just a really good player. So yeah, I think Ben White was our best guy. Odegaard kept shit ticking, but yeah, I like Ben's performance.
Other than Will Saliba, it looks like I'm not sure what that means. Oh, he conceded a penalty.
He did.
Other than Will Saliba, who else would you say was the worst player for Arsenal?
I mean, you could say Kiwior, or you could say Jorginho. Either or, take your pick.
Really?
I would almost have to go Kiwior since he even make it to the next half. He subbed out at 45 minutes. That's tough. But I think that was just a bad decision.
Yeah.
In general, I can't really blame him. Dude hadn't played in 2 weeks, and all of a sudden he's thrust into this. So, but yeah. Hey, Parker, real quick.
You missing Xhaka, dog.
I do miss Xhaka very much.
That's what I'm
Very
saying.
much so. Very much. Never thought I would be here, but I do. That's my guy. How much do you think y'all miss Davies next game? In the next game? Because I think he's out, right?
Oh, yellow card accumulation?
Yeah.
We could fill. That's another. I mean, basically all our CDMs can convert to the fullbacks. So we've already
Okay.
seen Kimmich go out on the right. So I think we've got options to either put Limer or Guerrero on the left, potentially.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got options. We can stick either one of them back on the left. You know, maybe they stack the midfield and run a 3-back line, which I
I got you.
would think might be a mistake. But I think we've got enough options so where we're not in panic mode on him missing. Obviously, he's a great asset and helps build the attack and can get up and down the field quickly. But yeah, we'll just have to adjust and figure it out.
Yeah, 'cause obviously athletically he can keep up with Saka on that side too defensively. It'll just be interesting to see. But yeah, obviously I have no doubt. I have no shortage of options there. So, you know, I'm sure it's plug and play.
It won't be grade A option, but I'm sure we'll put something together.
I got you.
Awesome. Parker, thanks for joining. I know you had a little bit of trouble with the power from that tornado. For those who don't know, Parker is actually now a local celebrity giving an interview on his local news channel. How was that?
Man, it was just great. I mean, I'm just working in the yard, and all of a sudden we see the WAFB 9 truck pull down the driveway, and they wanted to just take some pics and video, and then asked if we could do an interview. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, because they had been looking around. They got sent out here thinking like, you know, houses were going to be destroyed and everything. Not really much of that. I mean, it was a ton of trees are down and power lines, and you know, people did get damaged, but it wasn't like you'd see like in the Midwest where houses are literally just like getting deleted.
All right. Well, glad to hear that nothing bad happened and that you just got the power back on. As soon as you texted me, I just dropped a link and I was like, man, couldn't have timed that any better. Talking about Arsenal. So we already talked about all the scores. I just finished breaking down Real versus Manchester City. Kind of want to talk about PSG Barcelona. Who wants to kick this one off? Anyone in particular? I'll drop it if y'all want me to. So for me, for this one, I thought Xavi did a great job with the game planning against Mbappe. He definitely did his homework. Mbappe tried his best. Really couldn't get anything going. If we look at the total shots here, Mbappe had 3 shots on target. He had none. So clearly, Xavi knew what he was doing. He was going to make sure that Mbappe was not the reason they lost. Looks like they kind of gave favor to the right side of the field, seeing Vitinha, Asensio, Dembele, and Kang in with 5 shots on goal. Looking at Bayern, they only had 5 shots as well, but 4 of them came from Rafinha. I'm looking at this PSG backline and wondering what was going on with Marquinhos as the right back. It seems like a questionable call, especially against someone as quick as Rafinha. And then if you double team them with Cancelo, the 2v1 Rafinha Cancelo against Marquinhos and an inexperienced Kang in just doesn't seem like a smart game plan. Just want to quickly look at the player positions. This is one of my favorite things to do. You can see here there was not a lot of solidarity in the back. This looks like Marquinhos and whoever else is at center back, probably Hernandez, were essentially taking in the same spot, leaving all of this space out here for whoever to exploit. Not to mention this massive gap in between these 2 center backs. The center mids looked like they were pretty clustered, and then the front 3 didn't look like they had much structure. Going over to Barcelona, I suspected that they were going to cover more of that right side, but it looks like they did leave that open. Anybody catch these highlights? Want to add something, Booty? I'm going to jump to you. I haven't heard from you in a while. What are your thoughts on PSG Barcelona, this game, the next game? Just drop some thoughts here.
And, this is going to sound really rude, but when I was looking at these highlights, man, I was watching these two teams. I was like, who cares? Neither of these teams fucking win. Sorry. Like, neither of these teams are beating any other teams in this competition. I'll just go ahead and say that now.
Ooh.
Hot take.
Damn.
Barca, man, cool win. Awesome. They've been doing this shit all year. Very inconsistent. The next game, they'll come out and look terrible. And PSG will end up getting that goal they need. I don't know. They can both go.
Damn, dude, that is fucking well said. Just move on, right? Who cares?
I mean, I hate to be harsh, man. They got some great players. There was some great ball in this game, but I just kept coming back to it when I was watching these highlights, man. I'm like, doesn't matter, Like, and PSG will be dropping a shitload of cash on our boy next year, from Napoli. So, Osimhen will be heading that way. And no matter what they do in this, how they finish this one. So I mean, and Xavi's moving on too. So it'll be a whole new Barcelona team next year too. So, but hey, they'll stick with that 4-3-3 though. Another hot take.
They'll buy some more old City players.
Exactly, dude.
Oh, man.
Good to see you doing okay and made it through that storm, Parker.
Appreciate you.
Gunner Mike, did you happen to catch this one?
Yeah. I mean, like Booty said, that was hilarious. Cool win, as he says. Just a cool win. Nice win from Barca. Decent stuff. I mean, they played some decent football. Good game from Rafinha. Who's a really good player. I like him. Other than that, I mean, we'll see what happens. And that game was in Paris, so I gotta give Barca a little bit of credit here, winning on the road. So I'll give them their flowers for that. But yeah, it won't shock me if PSG turn this thing on its head in the next game. But why is Xavi even leaving? By the way, does anyone know? Like, I don't even understand why they're getting rid of the guy or letting the guy walk, unless he's going on his own.
I think he's going on his own, man.
Really? Oh, okay.
So that he must be fed up with the front office or something.
Yeah, they broke still.
Yeah.
I mean, they still have a hell of a roster.
Yeah,
they do, and they spawn academy kid like every other,
Yamal is such a baller,
dude. He is so good. He is good, man. And the center back kid's pretty good too. What's his name? Kabarsi, I think, or something.
Kubarisi?
Yeah, he's pretty decent.
Yeah, it's like they get these players. It's like if they would just stop spending money and just invest, they'd have a pretty solid. Like, you see who's coming off the bench: Pedri, Torres, João Felix. It's like you buy all these guys for all this money, and it's like,
for what?
For what?
For
You got
what?
talent.
You've had a great academy for as long as academies have existed.
Yeah.
So just
you got to
keep
fill
it
some
turning.
spots, but
Yeah.
build around your existing academy.
I feel like they're constantly trying to fill the marketing hole that Neymar and Messi left. Like sporting results are definitely something that is a priority, but at the same time, you got to sell jerseys. You got to get your name into the next generation's mouth and get them buying jerseys and tickets and, finding that player. I don't really feel like they have that player. Lamine Yamal. What's his name? Yamal? Lamine
Yamal.
Lamine Yamal. He's definitely seeming to be that player that the next generation is going to cling to as like, oh, that's our guy. We don't have anybody that's in our generation from Barcelona. He'll probably be that guy. Makes you wonder, is that why they bought João Felix, right? Because does he really fit their system? I don't think so. Coming off the bench right now. But I'm going to agree with Booty here. These two teams can't see them getting into the top four. Or I should say into the final. One of them will make it to the top four, but will they get past whoever they play? Let's talk about them. That'll be Atletico versus Borussia Dortmund, they actually could get through. I feel like Atletico's definitely got the most experience between all these teams as of late. They've constantly been into the knockout stages deep. I can think of 2 Champions Leagues where they faced Real Madrid. This one just seems to be classic Simeone just pulling out a win. Booty, you said you got to catch some of this. Why don't you share some of your thoughts here?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth, man. I mean, you look at the score and you look at the flow of this game and everything. You look at possession. It's a Simeone win, man. Like BVB had this possession down pat. I want to say about like 70%, something like that.
Yep.
But it was the mental errors that really screwed him over, man. The back line, their keeper, Kobel, right in the beginning, man, he makes this terrible decision, terrible pass. It comes back to haunt him almost immediately. Atletico jumps on it. They score immediately. So it's a 1-0. And then not too long later, I want to say 20, 30 minutes later, same thing, man. I want to say, I'm trying to think who it was. I think it was maybe Schlotterbeck. He heads the ball back towards the middle, which, hey, Coach Ocho, what you tell your kids, man? Never play the ball in the middle, right? On defense, right? Well, he did it. So again, Atletico jumps on another mistake. So it was mistake city, man. If it wasn't for those 2 mistakes, we'd be talking about a Dortmund win, maybe even a draw. But it had to be better. The only thing that they got going for them is they're heading back to Germany, and they only need a goal to stay alive anyway, and to keep it going. So that's a good spot to be in for a team that isn't trying to score on you. So, but at the end of the day, man, that's what that boiled down to. Terrible, terrible mistakes on Dortmund's end, and you really felt them coming up in Champions League too. You really felt that they were riding that wave and the momentum. So it kind of sucks to see them, go out like that on the first leg. But hey, still time to turn it around and go on to the yellow wall now. So get a goal, keep it going, take it to PKs if you have to, but you just need one right now.
Do you see Dortmund turning this around at home and going through?
I think they could. Also, I was speaking about history earlier. What does Atletico have the history of doing? Blowing leads in Champions League. So it's just, everybody in this chat knows it's tough. It's tough to just sit back and just hold a lead, even if that is what you do, even if that is Simeone. It's going to be hard to just sit back and pray they don't score one, by a mistake, by whatever. It's going to have to be mistake-free football for Atletico. So I think somehow Dortmund does turn that around.
Parker, you are our Bundesliga pundit. What are your thoughts on Dortmund versus Atletico in this one? Can they turn it around in the next leg?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting because, Dortmund has, ample offensive players. Take your pick. You can see there coming off the bench, Haller, Bino Gittins, which I'm very high on. He's got potential, and then still Royce. He can change the game in an instant potentially with either a pass or a finish. But yeah, it's just matching up here. Atletico's physical and packs that midfield. So if Dortmund can find a little bit of space behind that midfield and get in between the gaps, you could rely on guys like Adeyemi or potentially Bino Gittins to get a little bit of speed through that back line and either finish or dump off to somebody else. So yeah, I could definitely see going home, grabbing a goal. I don't know if they hold them off and they just start parking the bus. I don't think they have the the team that's built to park the bus like Atletico could. If Atletico grabs one early, I think we could see a 1-0 type game there. So I think Dortmund's going to have to come out really, really aggressive and try to get one to get them to play, tit for tat there.
And also, like Parker, I forgot about that, man. Haller as well. I mean, I'm not sure why he wasn't starting, but he comes off the bench and gets the goal they need. But exactly like you said, man, if this is a 2-goal game, yeah, I don't think Dortmund's pulling it off. But the probability of Dortmund scoring a goal as compared to Atletico holding them for a goal, I'll take Dortmund. And also, let's hope Haller. I don't know what the reasoning was behind that one, but hey, if he's
Yeah.
starting, man, I like those chances.
I agree. I think there's definitely an ability for Dortmund, especially going home, like you said, the yellow wall, easily turn this around. Gunner Mike, what are your thoughts? Can Dortmund turn this around, or is Simeone going to scratch and claw his way to the semifinal?
Yeah, no, I like Atletico's pedigree. I think Simeone, we've seen it time and time again as far as just, defensive football. Like Parker said, if they nick one early, it's Rap City, They get a 2-goal advantage, may as well chalk it up, They're going to defend for their life and move on to the next round. But I think they get it done regardless, however you slice it up. Just, I just think they got the minerals to survive and advance, So
I dig that. All right. Real quick, before we close this out, I'm just curious to see who everybody thinks will win and advance in the next round. We've got Barcelona, PSG. Let's start with Gunner Mike. Who do you think advances?
Barcelona.
Barcelona. Gunner Mike. Mike Daddy.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. Parker.
Yeah, give me Barca.
I'm going to be the odd one out. I think Mbappe takes this criticism and tries to win it, but secretly, I think the smart play here is Barcelona. Let's go Borussia Dortmund, Atletico Madrid. Parker.
I'm going to go Dortmund. I think they figure it out.
All right. Mike Daddy, oversized load.
You always see me on the highways and the byways, those trucks that pull me. I'm going to go Dortmund as well. I think they can get that goal. It's all in your mind when we look at the score. You're thinking, we've already said it a couple times, but just to touch on it again for the millionth time. But in your mind, you're like, man, you need 2 goals. No, they need 1. So just get 1. Worry about the next one after that.
Gunner Mike.
I got Atleti.
Atleti. I'm going to go Dortmund here. I think at home, yellow wall. If they start the right pieces, Haller starts, I think you can get out of there with 1-0, maybe a 2-1. Go to a PK shootout. Bayern Munich, Arsenal. I'm going to start with Booty first. Mike Daddy, what you got here?
Man, it's tough. We'll go Bayern only because it's what they do. And I think Arsenal's still a little too young. Sorry, Mike.
It's all good, brother.
If it was going back to London though, I'd probably flip flop. I'm flip flopper.
So you're going home field advantage on the second leg here.
Yeah, I think that's tough going to Bayern.
All right. I'm gonna make my pick, and then I'm gonna go between y'all two. It's tied. Jeesh. I'm gonna go draw. PK shootout. Throw it up to Neuer. Arsenal have to run home with their tail between their legs. Gunner, what are your thoughts here?
I'm taking the boys, man. I'm taking my guys. We're young, but I think we can do it. I think we got a good team, man. I think we got good guys, decent squad. I think we can compete with just about anybody. So yeah, I'm taking the boys, man. 2-1 at the Allianz Arena.
Oh.
And Parker, what you got?
Hey, any other Saturday or Sunday, I'm rooting for Arsenal. I'm looking forward to Mike sending the meme or the GIF, the traditional GIF. I'm waiting for it. But I think second leg home. I think just consistently being in UCL. I think we find a way. I think it'll be close. I don't think it's going to end up 8-2 Ag, but I think we sneak it out.
No, I get it.
I definitely don't think this finishes in regular time.
I can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it.
Hey,
Mike,
you forgot City Madrid,
Yeah,
dog.
City
Oh my
Madrid.
God,
City Madrid. Yeah, come on, man.
fuck me. Sorry.
Good Lord.
City Madrid. Well, Parker, go ahead. Start us off. You fucking remembered that one.
Hey, it's not just because I dislike City. But yeah, I think Madrid are just powerhouse. I mean, City's also a powerhouse too. But you know, I think I like Madrid to get through. That's a toss up. I'm gonna take the Spanish team here.
All right. Gunner Mike, what you got?
Man, I'm going with the 14-time winners. You know, yeah. I mean, they just Galacticos, man. They got guys, man. They got guys. I just see them getting it done. You know, no disrespect to City at all. Great team. But yeah, just think Madrid gets it over the line.
Mike Daddy, what you got?
Sticking with the history theme tonight, going Real Madrid again. And City just doesn't look like the City last year to me, and Real Madrid's Real Madrid. So I will take Real Madrid until they prove me wrong.
I couldn't agree more. I'm going to go with Real Madrid. They just have the players. They've got the pedigree. They've got the manager. They've got the bench. I feel like their bench is really what's going to set them apart from Manchester City. Do y'all think this gets finished in regular time? Let's go back, reverse order. Booty.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Gunner Mike.
Yep, 100%.
Parker.
They wrap it up. They go home early.
Okay, great. That'll do it. Thank you for reminding me about probably the most important tie. All of them. Oh, shit. That would have been embarrassing. Booty, can you close us out here?
I can. I know. Hugh G's too busy trying to figure out Saka had a PK up in there. He's forgot about the most important game. The biggest, two big Goliaths.
Shit, man.
Man, no, appreciate you guys coming on, man. Good to see you. You're okay, Parker, and your family's okay. I was in that similar situation with Ida too, where it was like, all right, this really sucks when we don't have power, but we're like alive and the house is here. So definitely I kind of know how that feels a little bit, It's still kind of scary. So good to see you.
Oh yeah.
Good to see Gunner Mike's probably naked. Looks like.
I
I
don't
would
know
be
what's up
too.
with my camera. This shit's on, but I don't know what's going on. I'm on my wife's computer. I don't even whatever. But yeah.
He's sitting in a bubble bath right
He's
now.
butt ass naked right now. That's
You just gotta. I bet you just gotta slide the little bar that's on top of the laptop.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look.
Oh shit.
Oh, like that.
Look on top the.
Look at that shit.
Oh!
You saw that?
It was closed the whole time.
Good call, bro. Good call. Yeah, look,
It was the privacy. It was the privacy thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What's up, fellas? Wow, damn, I've been here this whole time.
A whole new world.
Yeah, what's happening?
I feel like he just quickly went and put on that shirt after
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still got no pants on, no underwear right now.
Oh,
He's still got the bubble bath below. There, all bubble bath below. Man,
all right.
appreciate you guys, man. You got anything else, Ocho?
No, that is it. I will say, Booty, I appreciate you introing the first Total 90 Show podcast. It hurts, man. It hurts that we gotta make that move over from the Footy Fetish Show to the Total 90 Show because we've spent the last 4-5 years doing the total. This was episode number 5. This is season number 69 of the Champions League.
Oh,
it hurts, man. It hurts. So
all the more reason Real Madrid will probably win this thing. It's just 69.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta go look at those odds now.
Yeah. But I look forward to seeing what happens here, and kind of want to do quick shout outs. Quick shout out. I'm gonna give a shout out to my local soccer club. We're about to wrap the season up. We've got 100 10-year-olds that are about to embark on the competitive travel ball soccer scene, and looking forward to watching those guys grow. I'm gonna pass it to Gunner Mike.
My shout out, man. Shout out to my baby, man. My little girl. She turns 2 tomorrow.
Whoa.
So, yep. So big 2 tomorrow. Shout out to her. We'll be hanging out all day, doing the good stuff. Me, her mom, some family. So, yeah. Shout out to the kiddo.
What's her name again?
Connor.
Great.
Connor. Yep.
Happy birthday to Connor.
Appreciate it.
Let's go, Parker.
Man, shout out the linemen, Demco Energy, working around the clock to get power back in this parish.
Woo! Shout out to those hardworking men out there.
All day, into the night, as much as they can. We're back. 60 hours later.
We back, baby.
So back.
Mike Daddy, what you got?
Jimi Hendrix crawfish prices and beer. Mostly crawfish prices. They have dropped. I went and got some for the first time this season today. Shout out to Michael's Seafood over on Jefferson Highway. Could barely get in there. I had to like park around the corner and almost got in a road rage situation with somebody. That's not a joke out for.
Yeah.
With a young lady that her situation rhymes with the word bike. But that's all I'll say. Crawfish prices $3.75 down at Michael's Seafood. It was great.
Fuck yeah. Shit. All right. That was awesome. Appreciate you guys. Hang tight. We're going to do a test of the fantasy soccer app, but we're going to do it offline. Appreciate everybody. Mike Daddy. Peace out.
Peace out, Boy Scouts.
Peace.
All right. Y'all hang tight.